Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Blank Check here, and, newsflash, Pinkie Tails is a thing. So big a thing, in fact, that it has a panel at BronyCon, and I'm probably going to it. And I have not seen a single episode, so I need to fix that. It's a series by Magpiepony, who we know specifically on this channel from Princess Trixie Sparkle, as well as a couple song covers, but of course she does a lot more than that. And they've become quite popular. I get requests for them every time a new one comes out, and they sit on the back burner because they're so long. But now I have some pretty big incentive to check one out at least. And why not start at the beginning? This is AJ and the Beanstalk, a parody of Jack and the Beanstalk, I would presume. That reminds me, I forgot to mention the premise. Pinkie Tales are spins on classic fairy tales with ponies. They're set up in the audio drama format, and from what I've read from Magpie, at least in the beginning, they were lighter on the visual editing than something like PTS. I think that changed over time. They've gotten more artists on board, but I would expect this one to be rougher in comparison. And I could be wrong, but I don't think they're connected in any way other than thematics. I believe they're all independent stories. Whatever the case, it sounds cute. Let's fee-fi-fo start the video. Alright. Pinkie Tails! Oh, it's like her tail.
Tails.
I get it.
Applejack and the Beanstalk.
AJ and the Beaners. And she's reading it to the Cake Twins.
Hey there, Poundin' Pumpkin.
Yeah.
Are you superly duper excited for your bedtime story tonight?
I'm excited.
It's a good one.
I can't wait to sleep.
Pony and this plant and this huge. Well, I'll just get to it.
And this huge...
Once upon a time.
Ooh. In a
In a
land.
kingdom far away, there lived a poor farmer named Applejack. Although
I
her
thought
name
this
would
was
lead you to
fiction.
believe that she harvested apples, it was a common misconception.
Wait.
Oh god.
Misconception is quite a big word. You could just say incorrect. That's a big word too.
Reduce the syllables.
Bobo?
Thank you, Pinkie.
Error.
Applejack and her mother, Mrs. Sparkle, were
Wrongitude.
in fact cotton farmers.
Her mother.
And as every pony knows, clothing for ponies is an unnecessary luxury,
It's like my fanfic.
especially in hard times like these. Therefore, they were suffering financially.
Eat the
Why didn't you
clothes.
just say that they needed bets?
That's what it means, Pinkie.
Oh, carry on then.
I think Pound and Pumpkin
Times
understand
were
more
so
than Pinkie
hard,
does.
In fact, that Mrs. Sparkle and her daughter only had one last thing to their name: a cow named Rainbow Vine.
What?
I get it! Because a bovine is another word for a cow, and it's Rainbow Dash.
Oh boy, these interjections.
On the day that Mrs. Sparkle and her daughter had finished the last
I bet they'll
of their
drown
bread,
out a little bit.
she turned to her daughter and said,
Taper off
You
after a
must
while.
go into town and sell our cow for some bits, or we will surely starve.
Our cow?
I can just eat the cow.
Name Rainbow?
I mean,
Don't
I know
dawdle,
horses
Applejack,
and
and don't stop for anything on your way.
vegetarianism,
Except
but
no less than 10
that cow
bits
could
for
last you a
her.
while.
So with Rainbow Vine in tow, Applejack made her way along the worn path towards town.
She's probably not good for much. Does she make rainbow milk?
So is that all you can say then?
Moo?
Well, howdy there.
Good job,
hello
Lost.
to you, fellow traveler.
Ooh,
A smooth-talking sales pony and his brother said,
smooth.
Applejack with friendly yet somehow still sinister smile.
We'll give you this one scene for that cow,
Let me
dear.
guess. You're interested in the cow.
Mighty fine beast you
Flim
got.
and Flam are always interested
If
in
you're
the cow.
looking to sell, I'm sure we could take it off your hooves for, say, 5 bits.
4 bits.
5 bits? Aren't you supposed to be tricking me into selling her for some magic beans?
3 bits, my final offer.
Magic beans?
One of the brothers said, then turned to the other.
I will give you 10 bits to take
Why,
this cow.
Of course we have ourselves some magic beans. Magic to its finest.
The other brother agreed.
Yeah, that's their talent.
These here are precious beans, and we wouldn't part with them for just anything.
You can see it on their butts.
Do we gotta trade or what?
Those are magic apples.
Deal.
They make beans.
Before another word could be said, the pair of ponies had vanished with Rainbow Vine, leaving poor foolish
Rainbow
Applejack
vine.
with 3 lousy and ordinary beans.
Oh boy.
They're supposed to be magic beans.
Do they at least
Yes,
taste
of course,
good?
Pinkie. 3 lousy and magical beans.
Are they jelly beans?
When Applejack proudly presented the beans
Oh,
to her
she's
mother,
so sad.
Mrs. Sparkle was far less than pleased.
Mama Twilight, I got beans for days.
I sent you into town for bits, not beans.
Cool
You cannot
beans.
live on 3 beans, Applejack. What were you thinking?
I couldn't understand your
I'm just doing
accent.
What's supposed to be done, and I know for a fact this story has the cow traded for beans.
Y'all speaking too fancy for me.
Mrs. Sparkle exclaimed, tossing the beans from her hoof into the dry, brittle yard just outside the window.
Well, maybe
I like
you
the
could
background
use your
music.
alicorn magic to make them into magic beans.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such thing as magic beans. End of story. Now off to bed with you.
Just like there's
I
no
will
such
get
thing
up
as
with
magic
another plan
ponies.
to get food in this house.
What Mrs. Sparkle didn't know was that the beans she had unknowingly planted were in fact magical. And by
Oh
the
my
full
God.
moon's light, they took root in the hard soil and sprung up into a beanstalk that soared into the sky and pierced through clouds.
What crazy twist is this? I would have never expected.
When morning finally came, Applejack and her mother gazed in awe.
I feel like
the
I'm at a
beanstalk,
30-degree
letting
incline.
their imaginations run wild with the possibilities of where it would lead.
Maybe
Maybe I should stare into the sun.
Are you sure, Applejack? It looks rather
This gives me a good
dangerous.
vantage point.
Dangerous? How is this dangerous? There's a spiral ramp conveniently wrapped around the beanstalk leading all
There's
the way
no
up.
guardrails, Applejack.
Please be careful, my daughter.
Mrs. Sparkle said, embracing Applejack one final time before Applejack
Any construction
began
worker
to
worth their
climb.
salt would install guardrails.
The least these storytellers could do is write in a proper challenge. What, do they think I can't climb a beanstalk on my own?
Applejack ranted just before she broke
Reverse
through
gravity.
the cloud cover.
Well,
Speed it
that
up
was
10
fast.
times.
Applejack added, taking a look around, and discovered an entire world above the clouds that no
Can she
pony
walk
would
on the
have ever
clouds
dreamed.
is a good question.
Wait, am I expected to walk on this here cloud?
I
Still just an
mean,
Earth pony, you know. Can't do that sort of
only
thing
you
without
would think of
clouds
questions like
magic.
that, Applejack. You're
Oh,
the
well.
smart one here.
Applejack took a wary step onto the cloud and found, much to her surprise, that it was firm as solid ground.
It's a dirt cloud.
She wandered away from the beanstalk and took note of the strange plants, which seemed far larger than those back in Equestria.
Time to fight Huff and
Even the
Puff.
blades of grass could tower over her in some places. After wandering for
boy.
a few minutes, Applejack came upon a giant building, and her eyes
And then she
widened
was
as she
blinded because it
beheld
was so colorful.
Bakery? It's a
Her
giant
tiny farmer brain
bakery.
could not comprehend.
Gee, I wonder who could possibly live in a giant bakery in the sky.
Please let it be
Still,
like
she knew that
rarity.
bakeries had all manner of wonderful things to eat, and that perhaps this was the answer to all of her problems.
Will it be a Pinkie Pie
Without so much as
self-insert?
a knock, Applejack easily slipped under the giant bakery's door and craned her neck up to see shelves upon shelves of wonderful
Aw.
things to eat.
My tiny
There were
pony.
Pastries, creams, pies, cakes, donuts, and loaves of delicious bread for as far as
Applejack,
she could
jump in the
see.
punch.
The only problem was that each of these delectable goodies were too high to reach and too heavy to lift.
If it's
and bring
spiked,
back home.
you're made forever.
While she pondered her predicament, Applejack could hear a faint tooting sound coming
Ha.
from somewhere on the table nearby.
What?
She wandered closer, the sound becoming progressively
Toot, toot.
louder as she did so. It reminded her of the sound of a tuba.
Oh, a tuba.
With the
All right.
sobs of a pony. When
It
she
is
reached
Pinkie.
one of the legs of the table, she paused.
Oh, look! Another conveniently placed spiral ramp leading from
Oh, now we
floor to
address that.
table.
Okay.
How totally unexpected.
Applejack
gotta think of the
climbed
little
leg of
people.
the table, and once she reached the top, she saw an array of wonderful
accessibility.
things to eat. There were jellies,
Government
as tall as
mandated.
buildings, and pies as wide as farmland, cakes as deep as ravines, and all manner of candies scattered about. in
Cakes
a
and
chaotic
candies and
fashion.
rolls, oh my.
She was so overtaken by the sight that she nearly forgot the reason she
She had a
climbed
sugar
in
coma
the
on the
first
spot.
place. It wasn't until
From
she
osmosis.
heard another loud and out-of-tune tuba tune that she continued
That's a great
her
sound
pursuit
effect.
Of the sound. When she turned the corner, Applejack
Wow.
saw what she believed was just
Rarituba.
a regular tuba.
Please
slumped
call it
against a piece of
Rarituba.
Blueberry pie. What she didn't realize was that the tuba itself was moving and sobbing as it made
Oh,
its
Toot is me.
noises.
Everything
These
all right
toots
there,
totally
miss?
clash with those toots.
Oh, don't start me like that, darling. I hate tooting in front of guests.
No.
Are you supposed to be a magical
comment.
talking tuba?
Yes. Oh, woe is me. Dude.
I thought you
I think
were
I'm done with the
supposed to
series,
be a
guys.
harp. Isn't it a magical singing harp?
I don't think we're gonna get better than this.
Oh, I wish it were so, darling. Toot. But instead, I am stuck as a dreadful tuba making all kinds of terrible toot noises. Oh, but where are my manners?
I don't know what to do with
Hello there,
this.
young traveler. I am Raritude.
Raritude. All right, that's even better.
Yes, really. And I am dreadfully sorrowful. Well, go
Those are
on.
two big words in a
I'm
row.
sorrowful.
Don't throw that at me.
Why are you sorry?
I can't handle
I'm
this.
a captive in this dreadful place, forced to play music, party music, for the wicked giant's many parties. Toot.
I'm wallowing in whatever tubas wallow in.
And sounding as light as a lute. But no, I am stuck playing such tunes as Every Pony Dance Now and the tuba rendition of
Every
the
pony
Magpiepony.
dance now. Toot,
Raritude
toot, toot, toot,
cried,
toot,
and with
toot,
each
toot.
sob, she let out another dreadful tooting
I
sound.
want to hear that one.
Applejack winced at the
You
sound
should do it.
and covered her ears. At this point, she would say anything to make the awful noises stop.
Well,
I'll illuminate your toot
how
problem.
can I help you escape then?
You would do that for me?
Your toot issue.
Oh, how wonderful! Toot, we will become the best of friends,
Why?
you and I. Perhaps you could learn to play the violin,
Why?
and then we could perform concerts together and...
Whoa now, wait just a minute. I
Yeah.
can't help you escape. I never said you could come home with me.
Concertoots.
I have nowhere else to go! Oh, toot, toot, oh, toot.
This is
You said
beautiful.
you must
I
take me with you.
I don't know.
I'm committed to another instrument already.
How's that?
I know of a magical tree that the giant keeps, which bears fruit of the golden apple. Each one
Is it
20
toot fruit?
at least. They're mighty delicious, darling, if used the right way. Toot. Though I suppose
All right.
they could be sold for profit too if you so desired.
Golden apples.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's why I've been led here.
I need money.
Show me the way, Rare.
This food
Toot.
ain't worth
And
nothing to
then I
me.
can come with you?
Sure, why not? I can shove the golden apples in my ears to drown out the tootin'.
Oh, this is positively
As
marvelous.
effective.
Ah, toot, toot, toot.
Just don't hit the cochlea
Could
in
you
a bad
try
angle.
not to do that, please?
I'll do my best.
like a Q-tip.
But I am a tuba after all. It's in my name.
Jam too far in.
Follow me then.
It's bad.
and
Bad
don't eat
times.
Any of the food, or there will be drastic consequences.
What kind of consequences?
Let us hope you don't find out. Come along.
You will toot the day
Applejack
you touched
followed
this
after
food.
Raritude. Her interest had certainly been piqued. Why would taking a bite of food be so wrong?
Oh no.
First, it was an easy request to follow, but with each new delicious treat
Nothing but toots,
after
Applejack.
another, they became more and more tempting. It seemed to Applejack that each new dessert
don't want
was
this
better
curse.
than the last, and her stomach grumbled each time she avoided taking a bite.
This is the
She
Taco
hadn't
Bell
eaten since the day before,
of giant
and
houses.
even then, it was a meager meal at best. Still, Applejack did as Raritude had advised, until she caught sight of the most amazing dessert
Oh,
she
no.
had ever seen and
This was made with apples as big as me.
What is that?
Why, it's a golden apple pie, of course. Made from the apples of the tree we are seeking.
Oh, Applejack.
Golden apple.
Don't fall victim
Applejack trailed off,
to its
her claws
allure.
unconsciously walking closer to it.
Here we are, darling. The tree is just around the corner.
Your cousin's the main ingredient.
What are you doing? Toot!
Raritude screamed with a loud toot
What
of
are you
distress.
tooting, darling?
Applejack had wandered over to the pie.
Applejack is
Her eyes
deep in the pie.
transfixed on its golden filling. Her mouth watered, and her stomach grumbled loudly.
It matches her
Now
hair
she could hear
beautifully.
Raritude's annoying and loud warnings not to. Applejack leaned in and took a bite. It was the most amazing pie
Oh my God.
she had ever tasted. And
I think she only
buried
got
her
the
face
side
into
of the
pie
crust.
For another bite. Without missing a beat, the giant
There,
door
oh, there
burst
she is, all right.
open, scaring Applejack so much that she leaped into the golden pie to hide.
Phase.
Standing at the door with a large grin on her face was none other than Pinkie. the
Giggity goo,
giant.
I'm coming for you. Nailed it.
Who dares steal a bite from my tasty pastry?
Pinkie
Tasty
the giant
pastry.
bounced from the door to the table, causing the room to
It's a good
quake
one.
as if the earth
Pinkie, you should
itself was moving.
jot these down.
Raritut screamed with a terror.
These are good notes
Ducked
for
behind a large
Sugar
piece
Cube
of
Corner.
cake, while Applejack struggled to keep her hat on her head as the golden apple pie bounced up and down on the tabletop.
Oh, not my hat.
All clear here.
Pinkie the giant said as she inspected a cupcake on the opposite end of the table.
I'd give away 75 golden apples for this hat.
Or here.
She examined each pastry, picking up one at a time, looking for any little
Licking
missing
them
pieces
all.
or nibbles. Applejack
Just a
frantically
little
poked her
bit
head
to
out
mark
of
her
the pie
territory.
and looked for a new hiding place. She saw Raritut giving her a nasty glare, and then she noticed the tree that
Are they
she had
hidden
been
anywhere?
searching for. It was no more than 50 yards from the pie, with a yellow trunk and light pink
No, they're
leaves,
hidden. All right.
and on each of the many branches hung a bright golden apple.
Yeah.
Although the room was shaking with every bounce from the giant, Applejack could have sworn she saw the tree shaking in fear all on its
We're gonna be
own.
rich, Mama Sparkle.
Ah, my prized pie.
Prize
Pinkie
pie.
exclaimed, pulling the golden apple pie to her nose to smell.
Just a
Applejack
big
shouted,
whiff.
Whoa!
falling with the splash.
I like the hat is
into the
just on
pie.
one side of the main.
What? My pie can talk?
Pinkie cried,
Run with it, Applejack.
onto the table and causing many other desserts to fall over.
Make her think she's gone crazy.
Say something else, oh magical.
It's like sausage party.
Applejack coughed and popped her head out of the pie, gasping for air before she met the gaze of the rather disappointed giant.
I just want to know
Aw, you're
how
not a
many
talking pie at all.
innuendos
You're just
Lost
a
wanted to
pie
make during the reading
Pinkie
of
the
this.
giant said, reaching down with her hoof and scooping Applejack out
Like,
of
this
the
is-
pie. Applejack was barely able to grab her hat in time and cringed when she put its wet stickiness back on her head.
How many quips did she make to
What do you
Magpiepony
want with my dessert?
during this recording session?
Don't know who I am, Pinkie?
Of course I don't, Applejack. This is the first time I've ever seen you before.
But you just said.
It doesn't matter anyway.
My logic is infallible.
Greatest work, and now you must pay. Tuba,
Look, just because I read the script
Yes,
doesn't
Mr.
mean
Giant?
play me a tune.
that I can't improv with the best of them.
Western kind of tune. Seeing this pony in a hat gives me a great idea.
Before Applejack could wonder what Pinkie the giant could possibly be planning,
Applejack be
she
nimble.
found herself in another corner of the
Applejack
bakery
be quick.
where a collection of pony-sized toys strewn about the countertop.
Applejack save
In a
rarity
flash, Applejack was redressed in cow pony boots, a white hat,
from this
and a vest.
crude
where a
impersonation
cheap
of her mother.
golden sheriff's star was pinned. While Applejack tried to figure out how she could be dressed so quickly, Pinkie the giant
Undressing's
set up
usually
an
quicker.
entire old western scene, complete with shops, desert sand, and an old railroad track.
Darling, you're gonna
What's this
get
here setup all
dust on those
about?
boots.
Applejack asked, attempting to take her hat off. Of course, Pinkie the
Rarity's
giant was having
legs
none
are
of
so
that.
pointy they could
She
probably just
readjusted the
saw
hat on
through
Applejack's head.
the rope.
She picked
No
up a
problem.
little purple alicorn toy dressed in a similar designed black outfit and a crudely drawn black mustache.
Ha ha ha! We meet again, Sheriff Applebottom. You can never stop me or my
Dr. Nefarious!
Are we really doing this, Pinkie?
Quiet! Don't you
Which
remember
is
what my plan is?
something that Pinkie's heard many times.
What nefarious plan have you concocted, Pinkie?
Pinkie? Who is this Pinkie?
Who is this
I am
Pinkie
Lisa
Pie?
Moonshine, the unwanted outlaw.
I am
Moonshine.
the Twilight.
You do realize
Markle.
that's another name for the.
Ah! Help me, Sheriff Applebottom!
Pinkie said,
I will
speaking for a
defeat
different
thee.
toy on the playset. This was a white unicorn mare
With my
with
mustache
a deep purple
of
mane
curlitude.
that was tied crudely to the train track with a piece of giant yarn.
Ha ha ha! Save her if you can, Applebottom! And while you do,
Apple
I will
bottom
rob the
jeans,
cookie bank.
boots
No
with the
pony
fur.
can stop me!
Oh
Jack looked from Pinkie to the toys that were roughly her size.
please save me.
Time for this.
Pinkie lowered her head and rested it on the table.
I'm a
looking
beautiful
Applejack in
damsel
the eye,
with a
glaring
perfect
darkly.
coiffure.
What did you say?
I said, fret not, miss.
Rarity.
I like
Oh,
how the
so we're not
audio just
changing
dropped
the name then?
completely.
Nothing else fit right.
From across the way,
Good fit.
made an unimpressed tooting sound.
Toot.
Miss Rarity, then. I shall save you.
You can't change
Applejack
perfection,
sauntered
darling.
towards the Rarity doll.
And my name is
It too was
Perfection.
dressed for the part, wearing a red frilly gown and a hat that she was sure that real Rarity would never dare to wear.
Oh, good. They
She
won't
bit
notice
down on the yarn and pulled
when they see when she
wondering what the
bleeds.
catch was. That was, of course, when Applejack caught sight
It'll be perfect when
of
you
a
push
toy
her in front of the
heading her
train.
way.
Hurry, Miss Applebottom.
Really?
Hurry. Hurry. Hurry.
Just tie her harder.
Darn it, I'm doing my best.
Applejack knows better knots than Pinkie Pie. She can make sure she never escapes.
Pinkie screamed in place of the Rarity doll, just as Applejack pulled it free. The toy train sped by and straight off the counter, landing with a crash on the unforgiving ground
I'm
below.
thinking of Ant-Man now.
This did not seem to deter Pinkie as she cheered for the doll.
I just want a zoomed out view of all this.
Applebottom, you're my hero.
I
Kiss.
sure am, Pink. Rarity.
Going for the kiss.
Are we, done now?
Oh no.
We've only just begun.
There's so much
Pinkie
more,
the Giant
Applejack.
exclaimed, motioning to the cupboard behind her to show Applejack the many hundreds of outfits and playsets she had stored away for playtime.
Ooh, like Indians in the
The
cupboard.
pit of Applejack's stomach dropped, and her eyes widened, imagining the horrors that were to come.
Pinkie likes to play rough.
You'll have to take an teensy-weensy break to finish baking all the goodies for the party. Giant Gummy's cake must be perfect.
Giant gummy.
The giant said, swooping Applejack up with
I don't
one
feel like
swipe
giants
of her
would name
hook.
themselves with giant
She hummed merrily to herself
as a
as she
prefix.
placed Applejack on the shelf in the play cupboard, as if she were now one of the many
Like a
toys
salutation
Pinkie had collected.
instead of Mr. or
As
Mrs.
Pinkie closed the cupboard door, Applejack quickly pushed her hat in the way of the lock.
Oh, giant
Pinkie
Pinkie.
the Giant turned the key and bounced away, assuming that she had successfully locked Applejack inside. From the table below, Rarity caught sight
No,
of
Pinkie's
Applejack's
perception,
trick and
very
intended
low.
to use her music to aid in her escape. She turned her attention to Pinkie the Giant.
High charisma, low
as she
perception.
hobbled towards her.
Might I play you a tune while you cook your delicacies?
Oh, a happy working song?
Please.
No, Pinkie. Disney claimed the rights to that one.
Perhaps something soothing.
Give me something. Give me
Trying
some.
her best to play a tune to lull the giant to sleep. A hard task to do when you're a tuba.
All right.
Of course, as it is with these sorts of fairy tales, Pinkie the Giant was helpless to Raritude's song.
I accept it.
She set down her giant baking sheet of cookies and rested her head on the table. After a few minutes of silence,
So beautiful.
I could hear her soft snores. She struggled a little at first to pull her hat free, then bucked the wood of the door to open it. Being
Yeah.
careful not to
Come on,
make a
Applejack.
sound, Applejack leapt from the cupboard.
It's just
and
trees.
onto the countertop, securing
You can
her
take out
head
anything
back onto
wood.
her head. She looked to the door and almost ran to safety when she remembered the delicious golden apples. She thought perhaps if the giant slept long enough, she could take the tree for
I
herself.
do like Golden Delicious.
Whoa,
My preferred apples.
Applejack wouldn't steal.
Pinkie, you're supposed to be asleep.
Stop breaking it.
Right.
The walls, Pinkie, they can't handle it.
Along the countertop, hopping from saucepan to baking
They're
sheet,
fragile.
making her way back towards the table. At long last,
All
she
right.
reached the golden
Okay,
apple tree.
I'm in. I'm good.
Marveling at the
I like
delicious
this.
fruit that it grew.
Maybe I could have just one.
Did not
Applejack
actually
said,
expect that.
turning around to buck the bark of the tree and cause an apple to fall.
But this
Oh,
works on so many levels.
if you don't mind, I would rather you didn't do that.
Fluttershy, are you a tree?
Oh dear.
Who is Fluttershy?
I think I am.
Aren't you? Well, then who are you?
I'm Fluttertree.
Sure.
Of
Yes.
course.
That. Yep. That's.
Of course, you're
Of
called
course.
Fluttertree. All right.
I like Applejack
well,
playing the straight mare for the story.
Fluttertree, would you be so kind as to allow me to take you home with me?
Oh, Applejack, you're so forward.
No, that's not very nice. I mean, I don't really like it
I'm not
here,
prepared for
but
this next step in
it
our
would be
relationship.
So sad if the giant woke up and her tree was
Things are
missing.
moving so fast. I mean,
What does Fluttertree want?
Well, will there be little animals where you live?
Oh yeah,
On
tons.
the farm. Little critters are always wandering about.
We hunt all kinds of things. All kinds of critters.
Pigs and cows and chickens. Maybe even some songbirds and squirrels.
Well, we have everything but a cow.
Something like that. So
The cow's being processed by
Oh, all right.
Flim and Flam as we speak.
But how do you expect to carry me away all on your own?
When I'm with you, baby,
Use the conveniently placed wagon about 10 feet from where I'm standing.
I feel weightless.
Applejack said, tilting her head to the side to indicate to the little red wagon waiting behind Fluttertree.
Little red
Guess
wagon
all the
hood.
ramps make sense now. Can't wheel you out of here without them.
Applejack pushed Fluttertree towards the wagon, and then used
just
every ounce of her strength
bucked her
to
over.
lift it into place. As she strained and groaned under the weight of the tree,
I
one of
love
the golden apples shook loose.
the hair on the
Right
tree.
onto her head.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, I swear that
Nearly shook her head
that never happens
and
to me.
picked up the apple that had
Oh
fallen.
dear.
She rubbed it on her vest before taking a mouth-watering bite.
Oh boy, Applejack, I
Top
am.
of the town once I get these here apples home. No pony will be able to resist them, and our money troubles will be over.
We're really moving fast here.
Declared, finishing the apple with a satisfied smirk. She took the handle of the wagon in her mouth and carefully
This
pulled it
tastes
along
like
the tabletop
frosting.
as far from the sleeping giant as she could.
All right,
From the
New
corner of
Bloomberg.
her eye, Raritoot could see Applejack and Fluttertree nearing the edge of the table.
Oh, confrontation.
where the ramp around the leg would take them safely down. She gasped in horror, thinking that Applejack had forgotten her promise to take her along.
Revenge of
She
the
hurried
Tuba,
across
my
the table
favorite
towards
Stephen
them,
King novel.
each hop making a toot sound.
Fit the tuba
The more
on a
frantically
branch.
she hopped, the louder and off-key the toots became.
Shh! Shh! Can't you keep that racket down?
You forgot me?
Shut that thing up right now, or so help
What
me.
have I done for you? And you were just going to leave me here?
Shh! I was not! I was gonna get this here tree to the floor first and then come back for
I
you.
mean, if I could have gotten away with it, then yeah, sure. You're very annoying, ma'am.
Didn't even want to go with me in the first place. Why would you want a useless, ugly old tuba lying around the house?
Well, that's a good argument. Let's go. Let's go, tree.
Toot, you have to keep it down. The giant might wake up and...
It's always about that silly old tree, isn't it? Dude, oh, these apples are so delicious.
She's prettier than me.
Amazing tree. Such a magical wonder. I bet it's the rarest fruit ever grown.
Raritoot!
Rare fruit.
No.
Don't
Raritoot
cross.
shouted, letting
don't
out a
cross
loud
the
toot
streams.
As she did so.
It's a different series.
Applejack put a hoof to her face and closed her eyes as she heard the unwelcome sound of the giant waking up.
I never ordered that bungee jumping equipment.
I don't believe you.
What's going on here? Hey, where's my tuba?
She would order new bungee jumping equipment every month.
Applejack shouted, wheeling Fluttertree down the leg of the table and towards the door.
Is that foreshadowing? Is there gonna be a bungee jump?
Raritoot objected,
At the end,
bumping into a large cupcake
rather than a
as
fall.
She pursued Applejack. The cupcake teetered on the edge of the table before landing with a splat mere inches from Fluttertree.
No.
Applejack smeared some of the splattered
That cupcake was
frosting from her
Spike.
face with disdain before continuing towards the opened door.
The poor guy
I left
didn't
the door
have
open?
Yes, Pinkie, it's called a plot device.
not a chance.
That wasn't very smart of me. Applejack might get away with my stuff.
That's called realism.
Point, Pinkie.
Oh. Okay, you can continue.
Pinkie the Giant listened for the toots of her tuba.
I'm angry again,
until
alright.
She spotted them making
Gotta
their
get in the
exit.
mood.
She growled and raced for the
Yeah.
door ahead of her. Before she could make it,
Fee,
however,
fi, fo,
Pinkie
fum.
stepped down on the fallen cupcake and slid from one end of the room to the other, colliding into a wall.
Love that sound effect.
I'm okay.
Little bruised, little
Applejack,
sore.
Raritoot, and Fluttertree made their way outside towards the beanstalk. Pinkie the Giant was on their tail.
Her eyes just
and
beating right at the
Raritoot
tree.
screamed a toot so loudly in panic that Applejack's ears went flat against
Why
her
would you
head.
betray me, Fluttertree?
Did you stop that?
I thought we had something.
Our escape here.
Get back here, thief! Even if it is uncharacteristic that you would be stealing anything, we're going to ignore them for story purposes!
Pinkie the Giant shouted after them.
Alright, this is fun.
Applejack bucked Raritoot up into the wagon.
I like the way they're
Alongside
playing
Fluttertree then got behind the wagon
with the
and
tropes,
pushed
with the
it.
story,
What are you doing?
with the characters.
Hang on, Miss Tuba. We're in for a ride.
Applejack said, pushing the wagon onto the beanstalk and then hopping into it herself. With a loud,
Yeehaw!
the three of them rolled down the beanstalk
Yeah.
ramp, Raritoot screaming
that'd be very
the entire
difficult.
way down.
To get those that railing to make those
Mrs.
turns.
Sparkle had waited half the day for her daughter to return. She looked up at the beanstalk.
I would be as terrified
curiously when
as
she
the
heard
tuba
a
right
strange
now.
Sound of a screaming tuba.
Madame
Much to her
Toot.
surprise, Applejack and her two new companions rolled off the beanstalk, missing the house to land in the dead cotton fields.
Twilight! The
All right.
ants! Quick!
From the clouds above,
Get the body spray.
the giant waited at the top of the beanstalk and watched Applejack make her descent.
We're burning this vine down.
Hold on. Why are you waiting,
Pinkie, you're breaking script.
Shouldn't you be pursuing them?
Oh, that would be silly. I'm a giant and I could have caught up to them in 2 bounces. Not to mention I could climb down much faster than a rolling wagon
We're paying you money.
before she even had a chance to find
Good money to not ask any
So
questions.
you're just going to wait here for her.
Yep. It's a pretty big plot hole in the original story, if you ask me.
Once Applejack's axe began chipping away
All right.
at the beanstalk,
I'm gonna
Pinkie
kill
the
this
giant
plant just like
resumed
I
her
kill all the
chase,
plants.
sliding down the beanstalk like it was a fire pony pole. Before she could reach the ground, however, Applejack's axe
All right.
had cut clean into the beanstalk and the entire plant toppled to the ground.
That was beautiful. Yay! That is actually pretty amazing. Oh, she's gonna get the cow.
Pinkie the giant was a few feet
She's gonna
from the
find
ground
true
when
love.
She suddenly stopped in midair and righted herself, landing softly on her hooves.
I'm like a cat.
Hi, Rainbow.
Landing on my paws.
Yeah.
Cubs.
Nothing goes together like cats and
Except you
cows.
slipped on a cupcake 2 minutes ago.
We don't talk about that.
Once on the ground, Pinkie the giant spotted
That was
the
only for comedic
little
purposes.
creature in sight. It was a brightly colored cow with rainbow hair. She shook on her hooves when she looked up at the giant, too shocked to run.
I'm taking you home tonight.
Goodness, it's a rainbow vine. I bet I can get her to milk me rainbow milk too.
Yeah.
Make rainbow butter.
Everything's coming together.
Rainbow pudding.
Pinkie the giant leaned down and swooped up the cow.
Oh, we're gonna bake so much with you.
Crummy old golden apples anyway. This is so much better.
Gold is one color,
Pinkie the
rainbows are
giant grabbed the top
7.
of a cloud passing
They're
by
infinite colors.
And fashioned it into a flight of stairs. She
This
hummed
cow is
a tune to
infinitely
herself
better.
as she bounced back up to her home in the sky, drowning out the frantic mooing of Rainbow Vine as she went.
Away in my home in the sky.
Meanwhile,
How lucky
Applejack
I
and her mother
am
delighted in their new flutter
that
tree,
they'll never
picking the golden
fly.
apples that would magically appear once the fruit had been picked. With the seeds from the apples, they replanted their dead fields.
Oh, this is
until
lovely.
An entire orchard of flutter trees sprang up from the
Oh,
ground.
hello, friend. Hi, friend.
I'm so sorry. Did I hit your branch? Oh, pardon
Oh
me.
no, our roots
I'm
are intermingling.
sorry.
Oh no.
Take a few hops to the left, please. I'm sorry. You're resting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh no. This is beautiful.
Look, a little blue jay.
I like this.
Here. Oh, these animals are so cute. Oh, he's so
And then
cute.
Twilight burned down the field because she couldn't handle it anymore.
Isn't it? Oh, pardon me. My bad. Look, how little these animals are so cute. Oh, sorry. Pardon me. So sad. Did I?
Wow.
Raritoot spent her time playing songs for Applejack and Mrs. Sparkle as they harvested their new
Much to their
crop,
chagrin.
whether they liked it or not.
Yep.
And with the money they earned making golden apple products, they were finally able to pay off their debts and live a comfortable life.
But what happened to the cow?
Good night, Pound.
Was the cow happy?
Pumpkin. Sweet dreams, my little ponies. And a good night to you too.
It's just being used
Hope to see you next time
for its
some
rainbow
more
milk.
Tales.
Rainbow Dash, no. Oh, we didn't see Giant Gummy. I'm sad. Alright, my goodness. Lost. Glory as Applejack, alright. Makes sense. Mags as Pinkie Pie. Yep. Shadow as Sparkle. Alright, yep, everything's going alright here. Rachel was, yep. Mary Medley as Fluttertree. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Pegasus Bitch as Lemon Flam. As one does. That was cute. That was really cute. I imagine the future ones, the most recent ones, like the Mermare and the Cindershy and that one that just came out, Rapunzel, are a bit more involved, more artwork. Once they got like really popular. That just seems like the logical conclusion. Once you learn that something is big, you want to, pour more time into it. Really make sure it's quality if you really like it. And I think Magpie, from what I've seen, really does like making these videos. I'm going to the outro. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was Pinkie Tails, AJ, and the Beanstalk from Magpiepony and her crew. It was neat. It was a bit different than I expected in the narration, in how consistently you heard the lost narrator. For the purposes of the reaction, I had to change my approach a bit. It was very word heavy. The only way to get in what I consider acceptable commentary is to forego paying full attention to what's being said, which puts more reliance onto the visuals, which is something I'm used to in the audio dramas. I'm fine with that. But here, transitions were few and far between. I liked it. I would assume, much like Trixie Sparkle, over the past 2 years that these have been coming out, that they've improved in quality, in visual presentation, editing, and variety, in the audio work, in the writing. The setup is nice. They've established their intended tone pretty clearly. It's definitely a more all-ages affair than PTS, but I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled back on the fourth wall breaking, or at least did not make it affect the story itself as much in the future, reducing its focus as an element of the storytelling, but maintaining it. I don't know if you can have the villain so directly act against the narrator over and over again. But once again, this is just a pleasant little introduction. I have no idea where they go from here, other than the stories that they cover. And I can definitely see Magpiepony effortlessly adapting these fairy tales with the characters that we know and love. A lot of the humor seems to come from who the characters actually play, and how their personalities clash with what they should be doing. I like it, and I would like to see more. To get to them more frequently, I might have to cut down on the vector editing. Each one's just so long, the audio and the video overhead takes enough time. But it seems like a series well worth checking out. And great job here from Lost, from Mary Medley, from I Am Shadow, from Glory, from Pegasus Pitch, from Rachel, and of course from Magpie. I look forward to seeing what you've turned this series into. Everyone else, thank you for watching. Until next time, fee, fi, fo, ni. I smell the blood of a farm pony. Be she apple or be she pear, I have the urge to brush this mare.